Hi, let's take a look at issue 1 of Laura Kinney Wolverine, written by Erica Schultz, drawn by Giada Belviso, and colored by Rachelle Rosenburg. Full spoilers ahead, so you're forewarned. The thing that strikes me most is that this Wolverine is probably one that is closest to Taylor's Wolverine. If memory serves. It has been a couple of years since I read Taylor's run, which I considered a definitive run for Laura Wolverine. As a first issue, this one checks a couple of boxes, like it introduces Wolverine, who she is, what she's motivated by, and her powers, and gave a little bit of a background to new readers. So it attempts to connect the dots from last era and her current starring role in NYX to this, and it gives a reason for the existence of this title. Hi, Future Tyler here. We often talk about characters through line, the changes, if any, of the character from last era to this one. Does it make sense? Can we connect those imaginary dots without having to do some contortionist tricks? In this case, I think it makes sense. I like all the connection, however minor, to Krakoa, and also, to NYX. Again, this is Schultz setting up her run by relying on what came before and plotting a logical path forward. Agree. I have to question the purpose of hiding those letters in a fake tree knot though. Like it feels a lot like the non-Krakoa version of like Fleet Seeds, last seen in the previous iteration of X Factor. But given that it is a hidden tree knot, like what would placing those messages in there achieve? I mean, it is hidden, right? So firstly, how would anyone find it? And how would anyone know of it to begin with? I guess we just have to roll with it. We had mentioned it before. When it comes down to it, the senior X-Men failed all Krakoans because they should have been there at the end to make sure everyone is safe, either with family or somewhere safe, and not rely on piecemeal efforts such as in this case Laura or Polly and Oasis, or in the worst possible case Mr. Friend. The whole situation just makes every X-Men seem so much worse. Like, the character assassination of Cyclops when he abandoned Maddie and his child for Jean, way back then. Yeah, I mean, it is not the fault of the book, but, it is more the fault of this era in general. Anyway, back to this issue. I like that Schultz touch on the topic of passing. In this case, talking about mutants who could pass as humans. Something that Allison did not quite recognize in Dazzler issue 1, despite her good intentions. And regarding the main story in this issue, my initial knee-jerk reaction was, do we really have to do a mutant harming another mutant story? Or taking advantage of another mutant kind of story. But the more I think about it, the more I begin to like it. Not because it is something new and exciting, but because it is a little more, it provides a little more balance than simply, oh, it's all humans hating on mutants, just cause. I mean, if I'm being cynical, I would say, is it not enough that humans hate and harm mutants? We have to do a mutants, harming mutants too. Like, do we have to pile on the misery from all sides? But, I think what the story is saying is it can happen to anyone from any side, right? Humans or mutants can be on both sides, like Polly said at the end of this issue. I do have one burning question though. Where is Gabby? There appears to be a consistent theme to our reviews of almost half the X book this week. And it has to do with the placement and continuity issue. Like, this story took place when Laura is hanging out with Sophie and Kamala, and then go ahead and mention that Wolverine is in Canada, as in Wolverine issue 1, which would place the timing of the NYX stories before the rest of the X books of this era, sort of like in line with Wolverine, which might explain why some of the events in NYX were not mentioned in other books. But I think it needs to run a couple more issues before we can say for sure where or how these things are connected. Also, this is placed before Sophie lost her powers, or maybe after she regained it. So, like we concluded in other reviews, just wait and see. It is probably a minor thing for most people, but it irks us slightly. The art is at times really beautiful, especially when it is a close-up shot of Laura, but at times it is a little awkward with some impossible anatomy, like Laura with a tiny waist. And there is one weird inconsistency, though I'm not sure if it is the script or the art, but since I'm noticing it in the art first, I will place it here. So in the opening page of this issue, it would appear that Laura was climbing the barge from the outside, but that did not happen anywhere else in this issue. So that is her stopping her fall when she jumped out of the window. And it also looks weird because she was jumping straight out and really far from the window. So it is a tall building and it is fatter at the bottom compared to the top. So it's not too far of a stretch that she twisted around to stop her fall somehow. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure. So apart from that, some of the action poses are also a little awkward, such as the one where Laura stabbed Cybele and her leg claws and kicks, and then one of the kicks to one of the Cybele goons, like her legs are like super long. So I'm sometimes taken out of the story, but then we get some nice panels that are wonderful on even the same page, right? Such as the one where Cybele is like spraying acid, and then there's another one where Laura is doing this Spider-Man thing, weaving in between the acid sprays, and I'm pulled right back in. So I hope this is just Belviso getting used to the characters, and that all the not so good stuff will be smoothed out in future issues. This is a reasonably good first issue. I will give this a 3.5 out of 5. As I'm not a new reader, parts of it does not fully cater to me, but that is okay. You always want to be new reader friendly, especially with a number 1 issue. The story is a little generic, and the art is kind of inconsistent, with some really wonderful panels and some odd ones. Agree. So, this is worth checking out even if you're not really a Laura Wolverine fan. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our little channel. And then share this with your friends as well. Please also leave a comment. Thanks, and Tyler out.